Commanders fans have been clamoring for offensive linemen and cornerbacks, and hours into the legal tampering period, the front office has delivered.
Here we go.
Well, that's excellent.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Ref the District. I'm Nathan Perry. That's the Stoner. He is not alone. I am here with him, and we've got a show. It pained me not to be there for the Daron Payne video.
I see what
Stoner.
you did there.
But I'm glad that we got that out. And here they are again, the Commanders. A lot of people expected Washington to kind of be slow. And this is what they did last year. And the year before that, they were kind of made one big splash signing, and then they kind of slow rolled it. Here, they re-signed Daron Payne. We talked about that in a video yesterday. You can check that out. Stoner did a great job on that one. But today, just hours into the free agency, legal tampering, like these deals are not solidified just yet. There's only one of these that actually is legit, actually, and one still should be signing here shortly because he's one of ours. But two of these names are not going to be, legit until Wednesday. So we'll end up talking about that on our live show. But right now we got ourselves a couple of offensive linemen. Andrew Wylie, formerly from Kansas City, coming over and joining Eric Bieniemy. Nick Gates from the Giants coming to Washington, both of those on 3-year deals. And then on the defensive side of the ball, they've claimed Cam Dantzler, former third-round pick from Minnesota, and Danny Johnson signing himself a deal to stay on with the team. Let's go over the familiar name first,
Okay.
which is Danny Johnson getting a 2-year, $7 million deal. Again, a lot of people, Stoner, thought that Washington with that 16th pick were going to go either offensive lineman or cornerback. They needed that third cornerback. Danny Johnson, kind of a depth guy.
Yep.
But he's a good guy to have around. He did prove himself late in the season. What do you think about Danny Johnson staying on for a couple of more years here?
I think it's fine. I think it's a perfectly fine depth re-signing. He has been here for 5 years, on and off, like a lot of these guys, on and off the practice squad and up with the big club. And I think it's exactly what you hope that they would do. They got depth. They got, like you said, probably a fifth corner. He's probably that CB5, right?
Probably
but you need
4 or 5,
CB5.
yeah.
You need that. So that's important. That doesn't change, I think, what they want to do in the draft or maybe even further along in free agency, which is to pick up another corner, a CB2 or a CB3, depending on what they end up doing with Fuller and St. Juice and who's going to be in the slot. And are they going to have a safety come down and be that slot corner instead, something to that effect? So we're going to see. But yeah, it's what you need. It's not flashy. It's not expensive, but it's needed. You got to do it.
Sure. Yeah. Good depth there. Like I said, he did end up playing that third cornerback role for Washington down the stretch. They liked him well enough to sign him back, but they have been kind of open about needing more of a slot corner, especially with Bobby McCain out the door now. Now, this guy, Cam Dantzler, picked up off of waivers, former third-round pick on 2020. So, if you're picking him up on waivers, he just didn't work out with his first team.
Yeah.
But a third-round pick, I mean, that's not a bad, place to be drafted. It means you do have some talent. Do you think Washington can turn around the Dancer's career?
I will say this. It doesn't cost you anything, hardly anything. It's not going to hit you hard on the cap, and it's not going to cost you any draft picks. It might cost you a little bit on the board on where you are in terms of claiming guys off waivers. But it's like that something that they've done fairly often or been successful at fairly often when they picked up Ridgeway, when they did the same thing with Tuhill, right? And now they've done it with Dantzler. Maybe he works out. Maybe he doesn't. You don't lose anything by making this move. So you go ahead and grab him, see if he can be a reclamation project, And then there you go. Then you got another depth corner on your roster.
Sure.
Don't hate it at all. They're working.
Yeah.
The front office is working back there.
That they are. Yeah, I think that this one's probably going to be competing with the wild gooses, with the ones that, kind of were picked up late in the off season last year. So this is, we'll see where he goes. Those are great reclamation projects that you talked about. Not reclamation, because Ridgeway's a rookie that they picked up off of Dallas's practice squad. Hill's been just a fine, defensive end for Washington. So you're right. Maybe they can turn him into something on par with what Danny Johnson provided. And I think if you get that for a flyer, essentially, that's pretty good.
Yeah, you need the 2 Hills and the Ridgeways on your roster. They're not going to be stars, but they're not going to cost you a lot of money, and they're going to hopefully not embarrass you out on the field and do what they need to do. That's all you can ask from them.
Hopefully. One of the bigger names that Washington got today was Nick Gates, an offensive guard and center out of the Giants. So this is kind of twofold for Washington here, Stoner. They made, the idea behind this is they're making themselves better and making their division rival worse.
Yeah. I
How
think
do you feel like this is a 3-year, $16.5 million deal here that's been reported for Nick Gates. You like this one?
Yeah, I like this one. I'm not sure that he's going to be anything special, but anything's an upgrade from what they had at either guard position. And especially from the center position as well, that you had the 2 guys who've played center for 2 straight years have gone out with season-ending injuries early, and you've been down to your 3rd center, 4th center. I think even in 2021, they were down to like their 5th center. So this guy can play center and he can play guard. I think he had 258 snaps at guard and 132 at center last year. He's got a mean streak to him. He's tough as nails. We all remember when he just mangled his leg in 2021 at FedEx against the what would that have been? That would have been the Washington football team in 2021. I can't even remember. Maybe they were still the Redskins.
I think that's football team.
Okay, who knows? We can't even remember these. But he's got a nasty streak, and he came back from that. I guess from what I'm reading, 7 surgeries he had on that leg. They were even talking about he might have lost. He could have lost his leg because of the damage that was done. But he's come back and he played last year, and he played pretty well. Take him away from the Giants, add him to your team. Who knows? Is he going to be that left guard? Is he going to be that center? Because you have questions at both of those spots, and you don't know who Washington's going to bring back.
The name familiar with Washington fans is Wes Schweitzer. This is essentially, as Wes Schweitzer enters his unrestricted free agency, he might not find his way back on the roster. And now Nick Gates here is the replacement. I like getting in somebody who has that versatility. I would like to solidify one of those guard positions a little bit more, but with the injuries that Chase Roulet's been having, and then of course you're going down to Tyler Larson, and then Tyler Larson gets injured, and you're starting, a Martin brother and
the Nubs Martin brother, not the good one.
Yeah, and so it's good to have somebody who might be able to backfill that if needed, if things go south again at the center role, but hopefully more solidifying that interior on the guard side. So we'll see where he goes. Only allowed 1 sack from the guard side. He had a good game against Washington this year. And we're talking with 2 Pro Bowler interior defensive linemen that he's having to face. So overall PFF 60.3 is
not bad,
so
right?
It's not bad. That's
not terrible.
It's not great, but it's where you probably need him to be as far as what they're going to be asking him. So another kind of swing position type player there is Andrew Wylie, taken from Kansas City. So this is him. I do think that Eric Bieniemy had a say in this one. And it was just like, you guys got to get this guy. 3 years, $24 million. So a little bit pricier, but that's tackles for you. He can play offensive guard as well. So there's some, flexibility. Maybe you just see Cosme and him finally solidify that right side His PFF coming in at 63.1, by the way, as far as Wylie's.
Not bad.
Did allow 9 sacks. Not exactly great on that one. And as Mark Tyler from Hogs Haven tweeted out, was number 2 in the entire league in blown blocks last year with 45. His blown block percentage of 4.4 ranks the 7th worst. So maybe not some good stuff on there, but Stoner, what do you like about this pickup?
I like the familiarity with Eric Bieniemy, and like you said, EB definitely had to have a say in this if he's going to bring in a guy from his old squad. So he's got EB's endorsement. So that's important. He can play left guard, he can play right guard, he can play right tackle. He's done all of those. And he's done, like you said, those stats that you gave out, not overwhelming, but again, better than anything this team has had for the last couple of years. And because of his versatility and because of Gates's versatility, you have guys along that offensive line that can play a lot of different positions. And now they're talking about moving Cosme into guard and maybe making Wylie the tackle, the right tackle. I mean, you literally could have taken this legal tampering period and gotten 3 starters on your offensive line if you talk about moving Cosme into guard. So you got Wylie at right tackle, Cosme at guard, and you could have Gates at center. And now all you're doing is looking for a left guard. And let's not give up on Chris Paul.
Sure.
We liked what we saw in the one game that he got extensive playing time.
But he was playing against ones, and you know, for a rookie on his first start, looked pretty decent there, especially a late round rookie.
So I like him. I don't love him, but you're not overpaying, and you're not waiting until 2 months from now where you're picking up the absolute scrap heap, which they did last year when they got Norwell and Trey Turner.
Those are C-tier guys, and that you're looking at. And
there's a reason they were available in March or May or whenever it was that they were picked up.
I think that's fair. And to be fair to Wylie, even though he's had those kind of statistics, Mitchell Schwartz called him the most underrated or underappreciated guy that was on the Chiefs team last year.
Wow.
And also he was 9th in pass block win rate, which I think is mainly the reason why EB would want him.
Sure.
Right. Yeah. This is EB's offense, I think, is going to be a little bit more pass heavy, and you need somebody who's going to win on those pass blocks. And Wylie's proven that he can do that. So I think that this is why you're going to be picking him up. And I love that they're having EB already weigh in things. I mean, obviously that's an assumption on our part, but I think it's pretty easy to connect those dots.
There's no way you go out and get a Kansas City guy and not talk to
at least not a functional organization. At least.
And one other stat in his favor and Wylie's favor that I saw is that in the Super Bowl against a team that was trying to set the all-time record for sacks, and which I believe they had 0 sacks.
Zero sacks. Yep.
He had 29 pass attempts, and he allowed 1 pressure the entire game, going up against Hassan Reddick and those guys Sweat and those other. So he did an amazing job against an awesome defense and an awesome pass.
A historically good sack defense.
So give him that too. That was the last game of the year. That's your last impression of him. And he made it work and cashed in for $24 million.
Yeah. I think that you made some good points there with solidifying the right side, right? Sam Cosme goes to guard. Wylie becomes your tackle. Now you're good with your right side for at least the next 3 years, assuming that they play up to their contracts and abilities. You're good to go there. And Gates, if nothing else, gives you some mobility. Wylie, if you want to move him to guard and have Cosme develop as a tackle, because we saw him do good things as a tackle. So you have, I'm really interested to see how that one's going to play out in camp and where they're going to put them, because Cosme, they were doing some really weird things with Cosme last year with Cornelius.
He was platooning.
Lucas, platooning. I mean, we'll see how it works out, and I'm excited. I think one of the interesting things here, Stoner, is they're making these moves quite early and before we're hearing even some of the other moves for other teams. And this is allowing them, and they did this with Deron Payne, kind of setting the market rather than reacting. So you're not getting a C tier guy at a B or A tier price because that's where the market is. You're getting these maybe B tier guys here, but you're getting them at B tier prices right now.
Which is what you're supposed to do, which is what they haven't done for the last few years. So they're learning. I guess we'll see how it all works out. If these guys end up being terrible, then we're just going to say these are C-level guys that you paid B-level prices for. But they seem to be adapting the front office and doing things the way that us Twitter GMs have been screaming at them to do forever. So that makes us happy. And they're not killing their salary cap by going and getting the big name guys. And I think everybody's got to be pretty happy about this. But it doesn't change this. It doesn't change their draft strategy.
Yeah.
They could still absolutely in the first round, or let's just say the first couple of rounds, they could still absolutely go get an offensive lineman, and they could still absolutely go get a corner even though that's what they've picked up today.
Yeah, no, I think it gives them some flexibility where they're not necessarily shoehorned into having to get one or the other at this point. They're going to end up taking the best player available. That's what you want. That's where you want to be. You don't want to ever have to be in a position where you're drafting for need. Because normally if you're drafting for need, like if you're in that position, you're in the top 5. And your need is usually a quarterback.
Right. And you're probably reaching.
And you're probably reaching for a guy. So now this does open them up. I like that. We'll see as we get closer. This is just within the first few hours. And who knows, by the time you're watching this video, they've probably made another move. We'll have to see. And we'll have lots more discussions on this, including the draft impact, including Eric Bieniemy and his role in this and how we like that he's kind of bringing some of that Kansas City winning organizations kind of mindset there. So all that will be coming on our Wednesday show. Catch us live every Wednesday at 7:30 Eastern here on YouTube. But until next time,
maybe go get Lamar now.
Be a fan.
Here we go.